Alright, hey guys, what's up? This is CroixDawg, and we're gonna be multi-tabling our regular games today. Right now we're sitting a 500 match versus King Lico, or King Tico, and so we're getting ready to kick off. When I'm multi-tabling, I'm just gonna go with the Camtasia full screen. Um, and I've received maybe one or two comments about the videos. Um, thus far, and I know that the screen sizing was off a little bit before, but in these future videos, we're going to work on that, and I'm always up for suggestions what you guys want to see. But for now, we're just going to stick with our multi-tabling. Jack 4 suited, we're going to call a min raise. I'll usually call min raises with these kind of hands. Just going to check back with him. No reason to bet out, and hopefully we'll get to see with what hands he's min raising. An ace. So, pretty standard. Started off aggressive from the button, raising a lot of hands. We're going to see what he's made of. Just a standard 2/3 pot continuation bet. We'll take it down pretty good percentage of the time. I'd expect him to call with gut shots there, like hands like Queen 10, 9, 7, any Jack obviously, and any 8 obviously. But a lot of the other hands he'll just dump, and we'll just assume that players will unless we see otherwise. So as of right now in the match, it looks like he's playing pretty tight. So we'll see if that holds true. Flop bottom pair here. We're just gonna check back this flop. Don't really want to fire out a continuation bet and have him call. Turn we have middle pair and a gut shot. It's a pretty strong bet from him. 2 flush draws out there. Wouldn't be surprised if he's drawing. Also, would expect him to have a queen or a 7 here. Probably a lot more, and it's not worth it really to chase our gutter. So we're just gonna fold. And if he keeps jamming out after we check the flop, then we'll adjust our game accordingly. But early in the match, just really don't want to get any of those spots. 4xing it here from the big with 2 3s. Sometimes I'll check back and just see a flop with a kind of hand like this, because if you would flop a set and they come out leading, your hand has a lot of deception. But a lot of times early in the match, I'll raise those hands and just fire out a continuation bet, which will work a very high percentage of the time. We've got king high here. We're going to fire out a C bet of 80. See how he responds to that. And he folds. Just fold the 9 high. In this stage of the match, I don't really ever vary my raises from the button or from the big blind. 3 betting, I will vary. Like this hand, I like 3 betting pretty hands like this. And again, I'll mix up what I do, but I like the general strategy of 3 betting. You're going to take it down a really high percentage of the time pre-flop. And after the flop, the C bet will take it down usually, and there's always the prospect of us hitting a gin flop. Alright, we have a flush draw here. Most of the times I'd keep aggressive, bet out, but I'm going to check. I'm going to see if he fires out on the turn again like he did previously. And he didn't. Just to see, I think that he's going to call this 80. but just based on the speed of the check. But I'm going to bet it anyways because we have two ways to win. With just a bet might take it down here, or we might hit our flush on the river. And I was wrong, and he folded, which is very good for us. Just take those pots down. Call with the ace high, flop middle pair. Don't really want to get too crazy with these kind of hands, so we'll see what kind of bet he makes. He bets the pot. We're going to call. Backdoor nut flush draw. We don't really want to see him bet the turn. That would put us in an awkward spot. And we've only put in a few chips. 20. So far when he's had hands, he's let out pretty hard. Okay, 140. It's an interesting bet. I'm kind of curious. I don't think he would bet that much with an 8. I'm going to call and see what he does on the river. River's a non-threatening card. We were beat anyways. And we take it down with the ace-7. So that was an interesting hand. He was betting his 7 for value, which isn't a bad bet at all on a draw heavy board. Us just calling, it looks like we're going to probably have a draw more times than not here. We hit a great flop here. We're just going to bet out, and if he has an 8, he's probably going to get a lot of chips in with us, or if he has any kind of gut shot, but unfortunately he doesn't. Now we've got him a little over 2-1 chip lead. So we're going to keep playing our game until he decides he wants to 3-bet us or show variation. Then from his play, he's pretty much just called our bets and check folded most flops. 3-betting the ace king to 2-10 here. Obviously calling a shove would be great equity to get it in with that hand. I'm definitely going to call here. I think that his frustration level is pretty high, and I think we're going to be ahead a lot. I don't really think he could have baby pairs, but we're never folding this here against an opponent we've ran over. He actually has top of his range pretty much, jacks, and we lost the flip. So down 250 chips from our starting stack. Should be able to grind it back off of him. He seems like his play is pretty straightforward. Going to lead out for a min bet here with the bottom pair, and when he doesn't have a piece, he just folds. So I don't think he's going to be bluffing us too much. So I'm looking for more of a grind it away type match. Flopped a gut shot, and we have the overcard. So we'll fire out a bet. Wouldn't expect him to call without a king or a queen. It's interesting, he min raised us, which is usually a big sign of strength. So I don't really ever advocate re-raising here, even though you do have a gut shot and potentially an over. I'm just going to call because if we do hit our jack, I'd expect to get all of his chips. It turns a brick for us, and anything he bets out over 200 chips, we're just probably going to fold. Yes, he bet them all. So he's only giving us one chance to catch it. And we just fold. It's not bad there in some spots to just check that flop and take the free card, and you probably have the best hand a lot. But against him, the way he was playing, I like betting out there, and I think he's going to fold a lot. Based on that jack's hand, I don't think his frustration level's that high. He's just playing his cards fast. And then when we saw the min waves, we knew we were in trouble, but we were getting a pretty good price. Just having to call another 120 with some very good implied odds. If we do hit the jack, I'm sure that he's shoving the hand the exact same manner as he did with the 8. And we don't know if he's just going to check the turn. off chance of having a flush draw, maybe has a weak king and just doesn't really feel confident in it. So I like us calling that min raise on the flop. And I like us betting out on the flop. Alright, the flop comes king high here. We expect to take this down without a king or 7 in his hand, which is going to be a very high percentage of the time. So we'll fire out a c-bet. And it's probably not the case. We got min raised. Just going to dump it. We'll call a min raise with the queen 4. We'll flop top pair. Now we turn to flush draw. We're going to bet 90, 3/4 spot. And he called, and the river came a queen. And I'm going to check to him and just give him a chance to bluff. I wouldn't expect him to have anything here but a king high flush draw, ace high flush draw. I don't think he's going to call those bets, really, ever. And he had 9 high, so he's not going to call those bets. Alright, now we flop the king high. Here, I don't really want to... I want to disguise our hand, so we're just going to check behind. Even though there are 2 diamonds on the board. Now the turn brings 2 flush draws. We're going to bet out half pot. And see how he plays. He just flats. And the river brings a 10. Don't expect him to have an ace here, but a 9 is possible. A 2 pair is possible. I think we'll be good a high percentage of the, or more than 50% of the time, but we're just going to check. And yeah, we were good. So, and he had 7 high for a flush draw. He just shoves all in here. Don't put any higher pairs in his range. I would guess this to be ace king and ace queen a lot. Not folding though. A lot of lower pairs in his range, so we're gonna call. And it is a lower pair. And now I'm gonna peel it. And he flopped his set, turn quads, and that'll do it for us. So yeah, got unlucky there. No worries. And he declined our rematch. So that one sucked for us. But usually whenever people just open shove those random hands, that was just a lot of big blinds. I think that was, we had 1,040 maybe. That's what, 34 big blinds, 35 big blinds. Yeah, that can't really advocate his play there because you're only getting called by hands that are beating you. But so it goes. Sometimes people just drill quads on you and there's nothing you can do about it. Not getting upset. Really doesn't affect us. It's just one of those things you can't control. Happens. On full tilt we're registered in 1,030. We're registered in 1,030 and 2 500s. And on stars, we are sitting in a lot of lobbies. We're sitting in 1,100, 1,000, 570, 4-man with a fellow instructor, PS I'm Alive, skates. Computer's acting a little slow today. 500, another 520, another 520. 345, a 315, and a 300. Or not a 300 regular. Sorry. So, waiting for these videos to come up, or another table to come up. Yeah, that match we just couldn't really do anything about that. Very happy to get the ace queen in there when he's frustrated. We are pretty far ahead of his range. When I say pretty far, I'd probably say 55 to 60%. I would expect pairs there, small pairs a lot, like threes through eights, to make up a high percentage of it. And I would expect any ace with the tempo that match took, us just blasting every pot off of him early to be in there. And so yeah, I think our hand matches up pretty well against his hand. Jack's very top of his range. Uh, I guess if he did that with jacks, he might do it with queens. I don't think he would do it with kings or aces, but there are some players you just don't really know anything about. I'm gonna go down a little bit lower since we don't have anything up, and pick out a match of just playing someone random that I don't really know unless something comes up and accidentally clicking on Windows. That's what I do best. Alright. Just to get a match in. Really doesn't matter about what the stakes are. Okay, here comes a table up, so we don't have to set some random person. And it's at the 550. Jag 7, an opponent I'm pretty familiar with. Pretty good opponent. I respect his game. He's tilted against me a few times before, but all in all, I respect his game. I think he plays a pretty good aggressive style, and we'll see. We'll see how he is. Doubt he's tilting. If he was tilting, he'd probably sit 1100 with me. But we'll see what kind of tempo this match takes. And yeah, going back to these videos, just starting off are pretty standard early, raising a lot of buttons against him. And I think he does 3-bet me pretty often from what I remember, and he does call 3-bets a decent percentage. And when I say decent, I'd probably say 40% of the time, 50% of the time, which is a pretty large percentage. Okay, missed the flop pick, I got a backdoor straight draw. We're just going to check behind here. Now he picked up a gut shot. And I'm just going to check behind again. I would expect him to call with any piece of this board, and probably a 5. So I'm just going to check behind. And now that the queen came, I'm probably going to represent it, and just show that if he does call, then I'll use that for my advantage later. I'd expect him to call with any pair though, probably. And he folded. Don't really mind if he calls there this early in a match. It's just establishing a little bit of an image, and yeah, just putting out a bet that has to work just a pretty small percentage of the time to take down the pot. And I think if we can take down a lot of pots early and frustrate him, his 3-betting percentage is going to increase, and his calling 3-bet percentage is also going to increase. But back to what I was saying, yeah, if you guys want me to play, just let me know the stakes you want me to play for future videos, and yeah, I'm up for suggestions. It's CroixDawg at HUSNG.com, and yeah. Okay, we're gonna call here with the king 8. Flopped bottom pair. Not too thrilling of a hand. We'll call a continuation bet though and see what the turn brings and what he does. The turn completed. Gut shots and the king queen open ender. And we're just gonna check behind. We're not beating really anything. Beating small pairs. And he flopped top 2 actually. Pretty shitty board for him though. don't think it's too bad just dumping the 8 there against an aggressive player like Jags. Uh, yeah, it's not really at fault. If you just dump it, you don't really want to get into if you know the player's an aggressive player, you don't really want to get yourself in marginal spots like that. Gonna fire out a C bet here. We have a backdoor diamond draw, just 10 high. Board didn't really coordinate too much. Not a good turn. Completed 6-7, 6-3, and we're still way behind. We're drawing dead against a 4 and a 5, so we'll check. And not going to bluff this river if he checks behind. Not going to bluff the river. We'll see what he called us with. It was a good flop call. Going to call here from the big with the king 7. And just fold to his continuation bet. So go ahead and do a little bit of a hole there. Flop bottom pair with the deuces. Gonna fire out a continuation bet. He called pretty quickly, so we're just gonna check behind the turn. That's not a good bet for us. I don't think he would bluff that river. I'd expect him to have a queen or a king a lot here. So we're just going to fold. And so far, haven't played. We've lost 3 280 chip pots. And we're going to wait before we start with 3-bet him. We're going to 3-bet him for the first time with an actual hand. I think. Again, we missed a flop. It's just the way it works sometimes. Turn it open-ender, but a 10 makes a straight. So we're going to check. And we're going to make a bit of an overbet here. Make it tough for him to call without a 10. And he folds. I'd expect him to fold an ace there too. Just going to fold 7-4 from the button. Don't want him to think that we're just raising every single button no matter what. And he did the same. Been calling a lot of our pre-flop raises. We're just going to check behind here with the queen high. Turn the nut flush draw. Fired out a bet of 120. I'd expect him to have a king here a good bit. But we do have the nut flush draw, and we still do have a hand that could be good. So call, we rivered our flush. And we're just going to bet 270 and hope that he has a jack or a 10 of diamonds, but he folds. Just going to fold king X. And he's raising every button, so we might need to 3-bet once or twice, pretty light, before we wait for a hand. He beat us to the punch. Not gonna get involved. Just fold. You gotta be willing to mix it up against these better players like Jags. So I'm gonna start to mix it up. I think I'm gonna 3-bet this hand regardless of what the cards are, because he just saw us take down a pot. We're gonna make it 280, and I expect him to fold here almost always, and he did. I don't really advocate doing that too often at lower stakes, but there are a lot of times when you just know someone's going to auto raise. And he 3-bet us right back. So, later in the match I might think about calling with this, just to make sure that he knows that he can't 3-bet us every time and us just fold, but we will fold. We'll defend here with Jack 7. Flop nothing. And I think we're going to go for a baby check raise here on the flop. I'd expect him to fold everything but a queen. And he did. Although I also wouldn't be surprised if he threw back a baby 3-bet, or a baby raise back at us, just because of the tempo the match has taken. Just going to call here at the queen 7. I did think about raising, but we won't right now. Alright, we flop top pair. His continuation betting percentage has been very high. He's delaying a little bit, so I'm going to... Okay, I was just going to call his flop bet, most likely. Turn's not a very pretty card for us, but we're still going to call a bet here by him. The river brings a 4 flush. It looks like... Alright, he checks, and he wins with the 8 of clubs. Okay, we're going to check behind here with our ace high. He seemed like he would check down some flops. And he bets out the turn. I don't think he's, after the last hand, after he bet 90 on the turn with the ace high 8 of clubs, I don't think he's going to bet here without a pair. So we'll just fold. We're down 255 chips going into the 2550 level. And this is where we're going to get aggressive. Going to put in a small 3-bet. And he insta-flatted us. Now we flop the top pair and we're not folding. And he insta-min raise us, we're getting it in. And he has the nut flush draw, and we'll peel it. There it is on the turn. Okay. So far in this video, 0-2, not fun, but I don't think we played any of the hands really bad. We got it in. About a coin flip situation. Us slightly being ahead. But that's what happens sometimes. You can't win them all. Based on the pot sizes, this match, I like the way we played every hand. I like the times we decided to mix it up. I think we picked some well-timed spots of aggression. Just didn't work out for us. And got a little unlucky. Well, the match on full tilt we got pretty unlucky. We lost a coin flip, and we lost a spot where we were 80-20. And if we would have won this hand we were 80-20, then we would have had a 2100 to 900 chip lead. So it would have been in good shape for the win, but that's the way it works. But yeah, for future videos, just email me, CroixDawg at HeadsUp.com. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you like about the videos. Tell me what you dislike. Just pretty much tell me any concepts you guys want explained in more detail. Yeah, anything I can help with. Be glad to include in some of these videos. And yeah, so not getting much action. We'll stop the video right here, and good luck at the tables, guys.